Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Oralena Valero, the host of the program, and so happy you joined us today. I have with me today to do two very special topics that I know you're going to want to stay tuned and listen to on civic affairs, and that's with the Honorable Dean Martin, who is our Arizona State Treasurer. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Dean, Treasurer Martin, we are just so happy to have you with us. I don't want to do that.
I'm not a big one. I don't have a big ego for titles.
I know, but you know what? I know, and that's why you get so much done. And I love what you're doing in our Treasury, and you've really just taken our state to another level, and I appreciate that, and thank you. And if the people will check and see what's been happening, they'll see, too, that you've really made a great impact. And
well,
I personally
it's your money.
It's
not my money.
That's right.
It's the public's
ours,
money.
Huh?
Yeah.
Help us. So, and you have been, and thank you. So just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you're up to and what you've been doing. And
well, I'm the treasurer for the state of Arizona, and I basically run the bank for the state. So all the money that the state collects from taxes and fees and assessments, they all have to deposit it with my office. And so we invest that money, and we've actually made $900 million in profits over the last 3 years from our investments.
Wow.
So even though the markets are down, we've still been able to make money. Unfortunately, they spend it faster than I can make it.
Wow.
But so we run a bank basically, and we've been doing a lot to improve operations there and open up all the financial records to the public as well.
Wow, well, thank you so much. I know you've been doing a great job, and I'm really excited to talk about our first topic, which is azcheckbook.com.
Yes.
So tell us all about that and how you put this together and why and how it can be a blessing to people.
Well, this is a labor of love over the last couple of years. I've been working with my staff, a couple IT folks, and myself. You know, I made a promise when I did my inaugural address when I was sworn in as treasurer to open up the government's finances, and we've been doing a little bit of that where we could over the last 3 years. But AZ Checkbook was the big project. This was we never had an appropriation for this. We never had any money for this. It's kind of been a labor of love. It's every single dime that the state collects and spends on the web.
Wow.
See, whenever the state touches money, whether it's the money comes in through a fine or a fee or sales taxes or gas taxes or whatever, they have to attach a code to it saying how the money got here. And then when they go to spend it, they have to attach a code to it saying this is how we spent it, whether it was on furniture or overtime or flying around the state or paying mileage or whatever it is. And so what we've done is we've compiled all of that data and put it on the web so you can see exactly what the state is doing with your money.
Wow.
I mean, it's like looking at the checkbook for the state. You can actually see how much did they spend today, how much did they collect today, and what's the balance. Unfortunately, it's negative. The state's in the red over $600 million. But yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but I guess whenever our new governor took over, it was kind of in a bad state anyway. But
well, we actually did have money in the bank during the change of administrations, but it's gotten progressively worse over the last year. Yeah, it's one of those situations where the problem is you can't spend more than you make. Whether you're an individual or a company or a government, and the state's been doing that for the last 3 years. And so you can see on the chart the numbers. You know, we used to have $2.4 billion cash in the bank, and that continually gets spent down, and then 1.8, and then nothing, and then now negative almost $750 million. So
my goodness,
we're literally having, as treasurer, I had to go out and get lines of credit just to keep the lights on, just to make sure checks don't bounce for the state. So I don't control the spending as treasurer. I run the bank. It's kind of like Chase or Wells Fargo. You can't. I wish I could stop my customers from spending too much, but I can't. It's just like, the bank can't stop you from writing out checks. But if you write out, too much and you don't have a line of credit to cover it, they'll bounce it. And we've gotten close on occasion to having to actually bounce state checks.
My goodness, that's scary. But that's what's great about azcheckbook.com. I know that if somebody would go to that website, they could actually go in, and you keep this up daily?
Yes, we update the operating balances of the state daily, and then the numbers for the spending, those codes that I talked about, we get that data monthly from all the various agencies. And so what happens is we don't wait for agencies to make deposits. We actually go out and pick up the cash every day. We get that in the bank. We use it to cover that day's state spending. So we have that information every day, but it's not until the agencies get around to actually making the deposits do we know, okay, this is where the money came from, you know, and so that's why we get the additional data is updated every month. And but you know, this is really neat. We get charts and graphs, and we have the data going back for since the previous fiscal year. Now, so you can actually see year over year now how the state is operating and which agencies are spending more than they had last year and which ones are spending less.
Wow, that is so good. And how many agencies are out there? I mean, it must be pages, right?
It is. Every single agency is out there. So we've got everything from the Board of Cosmetology to the Department of Revenue, you know, my agency, the Governor's Office.
The Department of Revenue,
the
too,
Department of Revenue is there. You know, the Attorney General. So, I mean, if you want to look up and see, you know, okay, what's the legislature? What's the Senate budget? What's the House budget? Have they gotten more money, or the governor? Is the governor's budget gone up or down? Or you know, my office. You can look at where our budgets are. You can look at it. You want to see which agency is spending the most money flying around the state of Arizona. You can look that up too.
Wow.
You know, I mean, again, this is your money. This is not the government's money. It's yours. And so I thought, you know, let's put all of this up there. My philosophy is transparency is a good thing. You know, sunshine is the best disinfectant. You know, when it comes to corruption and problems in government. And so to the extent that I could provide as much information to the public as we can. So this is all the data we have. Everything that we can possibly collect and put on the web, we've done so. And so from what I understand, this is the first time this has ever been done in the history of the state of Arizona. And from what I understand, this is one of the most transparent now websites in the nation for any government. You can know more about what the state is doing than you can almost in any other government in the state. And that's good. People need to be able to ask questions of their government. And you can't do that if you don't have information.
Wow. Well, I think it's amazing to be able to do that and that anybody can go on and check so they can't complain and say, well, we don't know where our money's going. Just go to azcheckbook.com.
That's right. Yeah.
And we would find out. And I think it's great.
It's a little daunting when you look at how much the state is really spending and what they're spending it on. It's really amazing. And you look through all the information that's there. I mean, the state spends, you hear about this $10 billion budget, they actually spend over $30 billion a year. It's a lot of money.
I know. How do they go through all that? What are we doing?
Yeah, well, that's what you get to look on the chart. You can see exactly where all that money's going, you know, and you know, and where's it? How's it get here? You know, where does it come from? It's not just on the spending side, but where's the money coming from? And you can look up like sales taxes and income taxes and fees. You want to see how much people are paying in fines. You know, I mean, literally both sides. You know, this is just like, you know, you can open up your personal checkbook and see where the money's coming and going. This is the same thing for the state of Arizona. So, yeah, it's really neat.
Well, I love how you talk about being transparent too. And I believe that the people, our viewing audience, would love to hear that because, you know, we always look at politicians as like, you know, are they really trustworthy? And I think it's really neat that it's being transparent and that anybody can go on and check. And
well, a lot of people talk about transparency. We actually provided it, and we did it for free. This doesn't cost the public anything. We didn't have a budget for this. That we didn't need millions of dollars in appropriation or anything. We just, you know, a couple IT folks, a database programmer and a web developer, and myself, and we just grab a few hours a day here, a few hours a day there, and cobble this thing together. And if you sat down and worked on it, it'd take you about 4 or 5 weeks to build this site. If you did it all in a row, we did it over a couple years when we had free time.
Wow.
And so, but there's no excuse why every government on the planet isn't doing this. I mean, if we can do this for free, why can't everybody else do it?
Wow. Well, I know you're stepping out this Treasury soon. So are you going to be able to have this continue, or will that next person